everyone. Before we start, let's meet together. My name is Renat. I'm a community leader of Milky Way Design community. Today, I welcome you in our first AI Revolution event from our speaker, Dmitry Butenko. Few notes before we start. Please leave any questions and comments in YouTube or on the VR community platform in the chat, and on the Q&A session, we will be able to go through all of them. Also, please subscribe to our community on the VR community platform. Here, you will be able to follow any new events, not only about the AI, but also any design-related events. So, welcome, and let's start. Dmitry, give you the floor.
Hi, everyone. Greetings. Welcome to my talk. We've gathered today to find out if AI is a thing which can really change the experiences we're used to for a long time. And spoiler, it is indeed. And in this talk, I would briefly touch on multiple topics to give you an overview. Toward the end, I will ask you to vote on the areas that seems most exciting to you. And this talk is the beginning of a series, kind of. And I would pick the next talks based on your vote and decision. And I will conduct deep dive sessions into practical use of specific tools. Few words about me. My name is Dmitry Butenko. I am working as a product and experience designer for a long 12 years already. During my career, I worked with mostly complex systems, enterprise systems, which required complex solutions and were usually pretty hard for user experience. And this is like one of the things that is most exciting in AI is that we can break the usual experience of complex systems and improve them with very simple things, like with chats, for example. So I also worked for several AI and machine learning startups that were connected to enterprise solutions. And then the idea of magic button that can make everything okay has always stuck with me as like ultimate experience. It's kind of an ideal solution where you press the button and or press the button or write the prompt and you have the desired result. You have it right away with no hardcore learning, with no hardcore adoption, with like few months or something and struggle whatsoever. And that's pretty much the reason I'm here right now, telling you about the AI and what it will bring us in the nearest future. So why now? The main I was working in AI startups more than 3 years ago. And even at that time, it was pretty interesting that what machine learning is capable of, what AI is capable of. And it was pretty impressive in some particular points at that time, back then. But this year, it's absolutely mind-blowing. This presentation has AI Revolution in title for a purpose. It doesn't mean that we have a bunch of Terminators coming for us this year, though who knows. But like, let's try to understand why it's a revolution. So what revolution means, let's read the meaning. It's a significant change that usually occurs in a relatively short period of time. And that is exactly what is happening right now. And we have our kind of distorted view of intelligence, of how it's going on. And it comes from the very simple things like the first AI was based on ant intelligence, and we go through birds, chimps, and then we have some like very dumb human which is like probably who can use basic tools. And then we have like our level human or like some kind of Einstein. And we think that AI intelligence is moving along like we do, because we compare it to our growth and self-development as humanity. Though in reality, AI is different. It's based on huge computational powers, and the ability to process this incredible amount of information would lead to more exponential type of a curve. So we are pretty much on between those orange and green lines, and the next few years would be very impressive, I suppose. Let's put it on timeline, so it would be easier to perceive. So in late 80s, there was the first AI system to mimic the behavior of ants. Then after 30 years, we are already into like image recognition, reading comprehension, language understanding. Then in like 7 years ago only, or 8 years ago, AI began performing in some particular tasks or games better than human beings. And then we go through all the other spheres like data security, language processing, AI in healthcare and medicine. And now we have a firework of generative artificial intelligence. So if you would go back, like one of the notable mentions was IBM Deep Blue, which defeated chess champion Garry Kasparov in 1997. Then we had like a Go game, which was much more complex than chess, and it was also like AlphaGo defeated human in 2016. So, and if you do a search on Google right now after this huge firework of generative AI, right, you are going to find a whole lot of terrifying things. You're going to see art that is indistinguishable from the best artist on the planet sometimes. You're going to hear how AI can pass college exams, or how it does really good as a doctor on some medical tests. When you hear it get a high score on an IQ test, or so on, and many of you are going to see the examples how AI could do your job in some particular things better than you do. And I know that a lot of us are already using it in our daily lives. And especially it's in illustration and content management right now. And all of this, it's with a clunky kind of phase one product. Of course, it's not phase one. It's already there for some time, but not too long. Like 5 years is not a big time frame. But in next 5 years would be much bigger difference than the previous 5 years because of the exponential growth. So it's definitely not a latest stage of it. And just wait until AI has been on market for like, I don't know, AI is on market for 6 months. We were talking about this like ChatGPT tools, and what would be if it would be for 6 months more, or more terrifyingly like 6 years, considering its spread and popularity? What would be the result? And what is more impressive than that there is a big difference, huge gaps between like the first GPT model, for example, if you take ChatGPT, and the models that are coming like in the end of this year or start of the next year, which is GPT-4. So it's from 100 million to hundreds of billions. And this would improve it a lot. Like this AI from ant level to pretty much similar level to a human, even better in some points in particular tasks. It took 40 years from ant level, right? And the first computer was invented like 70 years ago. And imagine the difference of us humans who found how to use tools like 70,000 years ago, right? With 70,000 years ago, we had a first stone tool. And then it took like 69,000 years to get to bronze tools. And then 70 years from first computer. And now we have like X-rays, genome sequencing, and AI has even bigger potential to grow than any of the mentioned above. What I want to highlight that you can stop the progress. So ultimately, we can't feel safe for the jobs we are in and for the like things that we are doing right now, because it would be that disruptive that like everything can change. But the moments of disruption usually are also the biggest opportunity. And the only thing we need is to build awareness, to understand like how we can use it, how we can kind of ride the wave while everyone else is freaking out. And so you don't want to be the one who is freaking out, or you don't want to be the one who is not aware of what's going on. You want to be you want to know where AI is going, because it's going really fast. And it would be probably the biggest change, not just in your lifetime, but in anyone's lifetime. It would probably become bigger than internet creation or technical revolutions of the past. And there are two reasons for that. The first is like crazy speed of growth and experience change that it provides, because it makes the heavy work for you. And like even one reason is enough. The second is that it's in any possible area already. Like AI is on basic forms, at least, is pretty much everywhere. So the nearest year for AI, you can use it like the ultimate force multiplier for your work. Right now, like we as humans are limited by the rate at which we can think and go through information and perceive this information, and that determines the rate at which we can solve problems. And it almost doesn't matter what industry you're in right now. You're going to be able to do a better job with AI, because really like AI simplifies a lot of things which are very complicated for a human or for a human group. But and it's focused on calculations that we can't do with our brain. Let's move to another important point. Though, like, it doesn't mean that your job would disappear right away. Instead, like, most of the jobs would change, and the market would change, and like you would start using AI as a tool in a daily routine, or you would be moved off probably in a lot of different jobs. And like a lot of us are using ChatGPT right now for sure, and feel the boost in productivity. I do this since the start of ChatGPT, and I don't know how to drop this this tool. And market and investors see that as well, of course. According to IDC research, governments and businesses will invest more than 500 billion in this year in AI technology, and it's not that hard to see why. So AI made kind of a coming out this year because previously it was kind of more technical thing, but with natural language models, it got awareness all over the place, and that's why it was growing rather rapidly, and now it would rapidly grow, even considering overall market tendencies. I'd say even especially considering current market tendencies, as optimization is like another trend, and AI tends to contribute to it a lot. So while the economics is not in its best place, AI is still on the growth and would be on the growth. And I think let's now talk about where AI shines right now. Though, again, as I told before, it's almost in every industry already. Some of them are more visible, can be used right now by a mere human, but some of them are very technical still. So let's start with our Lord and Savior, ChatGPT, and text generation tools. So there are various applications already that are based on ChatGPT. If we talk about the basic like language models, the most interesting right now is the OpenAI ChatGPT and like some different models of OpenAI and the Bard AI from Google. These are pretty much the main competitors. And then based on the OpenAI and ChatGPT models, there is tons of tools, like really all the tools that we are using are going in this direction. And there is a bunch of alternative tools that are also, I mean, alternative tools, like new startups, new things that are focusing on a particular task. And there are tons of variations in different areas. The second thing to mention, it really helps with productivity. It gives you a lot. We'll touch on that later. What you need to understand, if you are not that used with generative AI, that it doesn't really understand stuff. So it works in a way that it can be misleading and wrong sometimes, but it's pretty confident. So like at one point of time, it can be so impressive that you're looking at it and thinking that that's the most genius thing in the like human history, and then you ask a simple question and it answer with a totally wrong answer with the same level of confidence. So you need to know that all the generative AI are using like predictions, and it just generates words that are more likely to appear next to the previous words, and it's not always correct. And the most exciting thing that is ChatGPT opened, the third version exactly opened the API last week. So much more tools, plugins, and startups are coming. There are already tons of from it on the market, and a lot more coming. Like Being, Zapier, Notion are already there. Coda is making the updates. Miro is making the updates. Teams, in a month, Teams would have the ChatGPT incorporated on a beta version. Grammarly is using the same model to put the ChatGPT functions first and then polish it up with their AI on top. Salesforce, tons of enterprise applications. Everyone is thinking how to use these capabilities right now. And like we can use it as well. The first part is we always like after you use it for the first time, you really boost your productivity and you want to share with everyone. And the second feature is really the truth, because like all the I'm pretty much confident that most of the people who were used to use ChatGPT are using it to make summaries, write texts, check texts, and so on. So if you haven't used it previously, how can it help you? Or if you have used it, what are the most the things that it's the best at? So the first thing is generating ideas. It really, you just ask it for, like, give me the list of something, and it gives you the list, and then it can tweak it, and you can generate ideas in the fields you are not really good yet. You can ask to explain any of these ideas and dive deeper. But if you want to generate really good ideas, you need to work with the prompts. We can have the whole big conversation on that. But the point is, you need to restrict it as much as possible, so the ideas would be relevant. Because ChatGPT, if you just ask for a broad thing, it would give you a very broad answer. Then the second thing, which is really, really nice, and I use it a lot, is understanding complicated topics. For example, like, and LA5 is explain me like I am 5 years old. So you can just ask ChatGPT to explain you like nuclear fusion as for like 5 years old, and it would give you a really good explanation. And you can even ask to read the book, read the paper, read the scientific paper, and make a summary out of that, and explain it in the more simple words, and you would get the idea on what's going on. That's very useful. The virtual assistant is kind of the main role of ChatGPT right now, which is like in my daily routine already. You're finding everything fast. You're writing an email. You're writing a message. You're making the text block. You're making, I don't know, testimonial, something else, list of tasks based on some data, for example. Summarizing anything from research articles to books and movies. I've covered it already. High-level data analysis. So it's interesting that you can use it already in the research, for example, when you work after gathering some data, and you can already check the sentiment and tone of voice, particular words or tags search. It's not like ideally good in that, but when you have lots of information, it can summarize and make bullets pretty decent. Then you can translate text, and it's really much better than Google Translate. It has 95 languages. I don't use 95, of course, but in 4 or 5 languages, it shows you really good results, and it's natural language. So you just write what you want to write. You don't have to structure it, and you get a decent answer. Then what is interesting, that you can train it and tailor on your own data. And how does it work? And in some tools, that's a specific target. You can, there is a website, you can check it later, Persona AI, where you can talk with the virtual human, like with some movie character, or I don't know, or specific persona, kind of. That's also interesting for designers, by the way. So, or you can just teach it. So how it works, you just tell the ChatGPT that please follow the particular rules. Imagine that you are a particular persona, like you're, I don't know, you're a kid, for example, or you are a subject matter expert in something. and answer me considering that you are in this role. And all the answers would be tailored. And then if the answers are not fitting you, you can change, you can update the behavior by giving the feedback. And it really adapts. That's the most exciting things probably. And there is a whole bunch of things about the code, debugging, documentation, and search, which is, I'm not too deep in this topic. It's better to probably look for some developers who are doing the overview of that. But for a high level and for an like entry level, for like, I don't know, for auto suggest, for example, or for some basic concepts, it's good enough as far as I know. Then we have tools that are pretty much following the, like, this is what ChatGPT does, but it has some own like flows, and you can use its functionality because of API in tons of other tools without breaking out the flow. So you can use it in Notion AI, you can use it in like, that's pretty much the same. You can use it in the Miro AI. It's now in beta. It's pretty interesting already. So you can use sticky notes, for example, and generate images from your sticky notes that you have. Instead of like going and looking for icons, you can just generate images based on the sticky note keywords. You can make similar nodes by keywords, and there is a way to make like the antonyms to it. There you can also summarize the sticky notes. That's very interesting. Like, you have the, I don't know, customer journey map. You gather all the problems in a particular like swim lane, and you summarize your sticky notes and asking to get the information. So I haven't tried it in Miro AI because I still don't have beta, but I've tried it in ChatGPT by like manually putting this information in, and having it work with stickers. It's a much more preferable way. Then it can like remove backgrounds from images. It can help you with mind mapping, so generating ideas, questions, topics. You can have for the card components, it can create like user stories and generate acceptance criteria. I'm not sure like how good would it be, but we'll see. And then it can generate code. Not sure why we need that in Miro, but still. Then we have like what is really powerful. We have Zapier integrations. If you don't know what Zapier is, it's pretty much the hub that can connect like any like almost any of the popular apps together and make the transition between them. And now you can use it through ChatGPT. So you can pick the as you see on the screen, you can create email copy with OpenAI from new Gmail emails, save it as a draft, or you can put it in another tool. You can put it from Jira to Slack. You can put it from like I don't know, a document or Excel in Salesforce or Coda or Notion or whatever. So, and the most interesting thing, Zapier was already good years before, but what is different right now is you don't need to struggle with integrations. You do it through natural language processing, and that's insane. Like you just write what you want, and it generates you the pretty good results. Let's move to another exciting topic, generative AI, in photos, in illustrations, in art. So the best tools in this area so far is probably Midjourney and Stable Diffusion. There is also DALL-E 2 and Leonardo, which is kind of a combination of all three. Leonardo is still in beta. It's hard to get access to it. DALL-E is kind of I'd say it's out of market already. If you use the, like, if you look back the next months or two, DALL-E was still competing. Right now, it's not. So DALL-E is kind of out of the competition unless it's updated. So it can be possibly soon as well. Who knows? So there is Midjourney, which is really good for fast concepting, and there is Stable Diffusion, which is, on the other hand, is really bad and tricky in the beginning, but if you can master it, it's the strongest tool of it all, pretty much. So Midjourney and even Stable Diffusion and DALL-E, it's crazy good for inspiration and idea generation. It can give you tons of options if you know how to write prompts, and it can give you tons of options as a designer, as an artist, and as a person who is not like even near to the art field, and that is really good. Quality tailored illustrations and art is still challenge. So you have this like excessive arms, fingers, eyes, whatever, and it's hard to get what you really want. So the way how it works right now, at least with Midjourney, is you're getting inspiration mostly, and if you want to get a good illustration, you take one of the really good inspirations and then you make an illustration out of that. But that's still a big shortcut. So, and entry barrier for non-design people became lower. I touched on it because you can do it with simple words instead of going to the art school. I'll give you a few examples of how Stable Diffusion and Midjourney works. So on the left, you see Stable Diffusion and with a simple prompt. On the right, it's Midjourney. So Midjourney is usually more detailed. Stable Diffusion looks more basic. Same here. Like you see the art. It's not the best example, but you see the details. That's a good example to compare to pictures. But when you compare this kind of pictures, you can say that Stable Diffusion is not really interesting. We can go with Midjourney all the way, but this was also made in Stable Diffusion with additional tools. So it's 100% generated by AI. It has so much details that it's pretty much a photo. But you need to consider that even if it took a lot of time to generate this photo, you didn't have to learn photography. You didn't have to go, I don't know, dress up, go to the street, find a good place to photo. You don't have to set up the lights. You don't have to do anything. And of course, you don't have to master your art on the degree where you can when you can make realistic, like photorealistic drawings or images. You are doing just with purely prompts, pretty much prompts, and updating the image with auto suggestion feature, kind of in like you do with brushes in Photoshop. I want to make a small test. Please write in chat like which images do you think is AI generated on this screen. I'll give you a minute, probably, maybe 30 seconds. Okay, so I'm seeing some answers about the third version, V2. So basically, all those images are AI generated. So, and it's pretty much like photos already. And what is interesting that this was made by Midjourney version 5, which is coming like in few days. It announces the version 5 yesterday night. And I was trying to, they were asking to compare to help the model teach, learn, sorry. And then like this kind of images is the difference between version 4, which is like few months ago, and version 5, which is now. What would be with version 6 in I don't know, 1 or 2 months or half a year? Who knows? Like I'm really excited. So, but that's not the last thing. Unfortunately, I wanted to show the video. I don't have the video right now because I couldn't export it. But I want you to Google for Joe Rogan AI jokes. If you know who Joe Rogan is, it's a famous podcaster. He's like I've listened to a lot of his podcasts previously, and he's very unique, authentic by his voice. And what the guys did, they just took all the podcast, put it to 11 Labs. There's a second second startup that I'm showing you on the screen. And then it learned how to talk like Joe Rogan. And it's pretty much indistinguishable unless you sit and do it like for purpose. You are trying to find the difference between like real Joe Rogan and it's like deep fake. And this is really impressive because like a year ago, all the voice models, you would definitely say that it's a voice model. It's not a human. Right now, you can't really distinguish between a voice model and a human. You can do it when you know how to do it. You do it when you see the pauses. But in general, if you don't really care about this much, you wouldn't see a difference between a really good voice model and real human speech. So I'd suggest you to check Synthesia, which is live avatars and plus voice, and 11 Labs. These are like two best things that I have seen on the internet. I've checked, I don't know, 40 or 50 startups on voice and speech, and those two are the best, really. And there is a ton of different other, like, AI is pretty much in every space right now. It's like in healthcare, it's been used to like trying to diagnose diseases, developing personalized treatment plans, improving patient outcomes. It's already in finance to detect fraud. It's like in some things in the automate trading, in personalized finance. It's not an advisor, more like helpers. Then it's in retail, it's in manufacturing, it's in transportation. It's all over the place. Educational, agriculture, energy, law, pretty much every field. And in each of this field, it's specific and it's very interesting. It's for now, it's a particular use cases are closed in different areas, and it's more focused AI. But right now, with this trend on natural language processing, all those small chunks of data, all those small types of AI would start to merge together. And what we'll have in a year or two, in 5 years for sure, but this would be much faster, is we'll see all those AI from different fields combining together and doing some great things. Let's get back to the topic of the presentation, to experience what will change in the nearest future. As designers, as just humans who have experiences, so and who works with experiences as well. The first thing is the rise of voice interfaces. So proper speech recognition, real natural language makes voice interfaces a natural way to interact with your tools. And like it is very different when you're trying to ask Siri 20 times for something and it gives you a random answer. And when you ask in a pretty much any possible way for like to ChatGPT, and it's answer you with human language pretty much and totally on point. That's a very big difference, and that's why, and it's helpful. It's much better than trying to learn the new interface when you can just ask and get the answer right away. It's a magic button. The second thing that we need to consider as a designers, as products, as like product people, it's that you need to learn more about the psychology, behavioral science, neuroscience, because the interfaces would definitely change. We'll move to 3D. I'll touch later on that. We'll move into 3D interfaces as well. We'll move to different approaches. We don't even know what we can expect. Like the interfaces would definitely change. For enterprise, it would be slower. For startups and some client-facing tools, it would be much faster. But in general, we still have the same brain. Like 1,000 years is a difference in is a big difference in our like lifespan in technology. But our brain is pretty much the same. Like the human 200 years from now, the brain is not different. So understanding like what drives users, like the dopamine principles, like how the brain works, is really would really help with new patterns for the user experience. We have personalization, all the like because we already have tons of data. We can manage this data. We already have the personalization. With AI, it just goes to the next level, kind of. We need to definitely to prepare to 3D and alternative interfaces, because with new technologies, it's like a year or two, we should have the glasses. Google Glass at the point it was kind of not at the time, but right now, if Apple or Google or some other company would give out the glasses that can show you the directions, that can show you real-time translation, it would be really, really nice. And people would switch to it pretty fast, I think. Design information, on-the-go translations, accessibility, because when we design for motion, it needs to consider accessibility criteria more than ever. And a lot of things with voice is also accessibility criteria. So you need to open this topic if you haven't yet. And there is tons of things that would be optimized. So we would have more time for in-depth work, for research, for more AI-driven analysis, for better work with quantitative and qualitative data. What you need to be ready for. There are it's kind of risk, concerns, or just things to highlight. So AI is definitely rising the data privacy concerns for many reasons. There are algorithmic biases and unexpected behavior in AI systems, from just mere like simple mistakes that you get when you ask for I don't know, receipts for pancakes, and then you can still have the same behavior randomly, and that's the biggest problem, that it can be random in some, I don't know, security project, which is much more problematic, right? We would definitely have job displacements, especially during the global crisis. And it's never good, because it leads to like more stress for economics, and more stress for us. What you need to know, that you can't avoid it, kind of. The only thing that you can do is to understand how to, like, the job would not disappear. It would just change and adapt, and you need to adapt with it. And you won't be replaced by AI for sure, but you can be replaced with a person who is using AI, and therefore he's more he's more capable of doing things faster, focusing on the right things, and so on. And like, making your experience broader is always a good thing in this case, because AI would definitely be better than you in some very particular tool. You can always take the particular problem and make AI better. But for now, AI is struggling in making the overall vision, for example, or something like that. Like when you have multiple disciplines combined in your head, you're still far AI is far behind you. And then you have heightened awareness and ethical concerns because of, like, especially with this trying to ask like, both natural language processing, natural language AI, and image generation AI are perfect for ethical concerns. Like, both are just pretty much the first thing that people are starting to do is trying to get the non-ethical content out of that. And then what we would definitely have, because of all the above, we would have increased regulatory pressure on AI. So the only thing that can kind of stop AI a little bit is regulation all over the place, and it's already started, and it's much bigger day after day. So ride the wave, or you would be underwater. I think that's it. What I want to highlight is this is a start of the series, so you can choose the next topic. The next topic means that I have few things to dive deep into. It's like either ChatGPT or Stable Diffusion or Midjourney, what productivity tools. I'm learning these things for a long time already, and I have a lot to tell you, but we don't have too much time today to dive deeper. So I want you to choose what is interesting, and the next topic would be on the most voted one. And then also, please leave your feedback and join the Milky Way community. So you can follow, be on track with the next talks, and there are a lot of other interesting events there as well. Let's move to questions, I suppose. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Dmitry. It was awesome. And for me personally, I've already noted some new tools. So I'll have something to do this weekend. So we have several questions on the YouTube and on the Wear community platform. Let me share these questions to you. First questions, are you BART AI team or ChatGPT team?
Can you repeat, please? Sorry, 1 second. I'll make the...
Are you BART AI team or ChatGPT team? Yeah, thank you.
For now, I'm kind of ChatGPT because Bard is not there yet, but we'll see. I am with the team which is more productive. So it depends on the competition. We'll see. you need to keep track on all of the tools right now, because they can outperform, like Bard AI can outperform ChatGPT in a matter of seconds, and you just need to follow it, or
Interesting.
other way.
Okay.
Yeah.
You told a lot about the changing professions and etc. Will there be such a professions as AI designer?
Uh, there is a profession of AI designer already, and it was there when I was working for machine learning tools. What it means that you're designing the interface for a chatbot, for example, and this is a bit different from it's more like you're creating the flows, and the more AI around, the more of a AI designer tasks there would be, and it would definitely there would be definitely focused roles, particular on AI tools when you are going to AI startup. So even if you are just UX designer, you would still want to know AI, because there would be tons of work opportunities in AI field.
Okay, I agree. Interesting question about the huge companies, enterprise companies. How do you think
Yeah.
AI will be used in enterprise companies, and when?
Yeah, that's enterprise companies is my life, love and pain in the same time. And I totally understand what you're saying, because like in enterprise is usually slower, and adoption of new things like AI in enterprise would take time. What is interesting, from one side, of course, AI enterprises would be slower. AI in corporation in enterprises would be slower, but for you, that's two things. Like, first, it's a really great opportunity again, because if you follow the AI trends which are on the market, and it's the same with pretty much everything right now, it's happening with the marketing, for example, the marketing that is going on the TikTok, for example. Enterprise company are just started using it, and it was a thing like a year ago. And if you know this a year ago, you can now go and sell it to enterprise companies. Same with AI. Like, if you are aware of what's going on in the world, enterprise companies would come to it a bit later, because they need to check that everything is safe. They need to check that everything is good enough for the company, and then they incorporate it, and you can help with that. But there is another thing, that enterprise companies have the data, and AI is pretty much all about like it's all around the data. If you have good data set, your AI is good. If you have bad data set, your AI is not good. And big companies would be probably slow in incorporating AI, but when they do it, they would grow much faster, because they have much more data. That's why we don't have too much data models which are competing with OpenAI or with DALI, because they have tons of data, and you don't have tons of data as like sitting as a designer and trying to Google it, for example, and make a data set.
Okay, interesting. Here is an interesting question about the influence AI to the game industry. Maybe you have some examples.
So AI is in the game industries from the beginning, because you have NPCs and all the stuff that are based on AI. Like, they are sometimes they are scripted, sometimes they are on AI. If you played StarCraft years ago, it's AI, right? And there was a lot of how it's called. So yeah, there were a lot of challenges at some point on like how to improve AI and so on. That's from like development point of view. But the game industry is all around AI back in the days, and now as well, because there is Midjourney right now, and Stable Diffusion, which gives you an ability to imagine unrealistic, interesting fantasy things. That is giving you the ability to make sketches fast, that is giving you the ability to make character design faster. It's very helpful in inspiration, and you really need a lot of inspiration when you are designing games and when you are creating games. And that's from the visual side. From technical side, you definitely had AI previously, and the games are kind of one of the drivers of AI.
Cool. We have several questions about the voice AI. First question from the VR community platform. Why are you so excited about voice models? It will be used for fraud. I think it can be used or not, but I think it will.
So you need to, I suggest you don't need, it's my suggestion to you. You need to adopt the mindset that everything that is going with like with new technologies and with just this new AI revolution and with new technical revolution and with technical progress, you can stop it. So you can complain that it would be used for a bad thing, but you can't do anything with that. But instead, what you can do for sure, and even with regulation, you can do thing. It would just make it slower, but it wouldn't stop it. Like maybe some, I don't know, cataclysm can stop it if half of the humanity dies and we are back like 2,000 years. That is an only option. In all the other options, we would still have the progress. And it doesn't matter, are you happy about that or not? It would still go without you. So it either goes without you or with you. And you want, like, I want to be with the progress. And that's why even if you should understand the risks of AI. That's part of our job. But then you need to take these risks, understand like how you can confront that. You can use AI to defend from this risk as well. And then you use the positive sides of AI in your job to improving the productivity, to change the world, kind of, because it would change the world a lot.
Okay, thank you. And the last question, I guess, can you tell which tool for generating voice by text is the best at the moment, in your opinion?
It depends on like how much money you want to spare to spare any, but I think the 11 Labs is one of the best right now. Synthesia is best if you want to make the avatars, as I said. But and it also depends on how good is the data set. If you have a big data set, if you can give like an hours of your voice to a tool, 11 Labs would make it your voice pretty much similar to how you talk, and you can then adapt it and make it better by giving them more examples. So for now I think 11 Labs is the best.
Okay, thank you. We have one question, and I think the answer to this question would be the great promo for our next events with you. How often do you use AI tool in your work, and what AI tools most often?
ChatGPT pretty much every day. Stable Diffusion and Midjourney because that's interesting for me, and I'm using like new AI tools every week, kind of, because I'm really into this topic, and I think that it's like it's very interesting. It's kind of the future of human experience. It's the future of of my job as a user experience designer, and the experiences would change. Our job would change, and this helps you to understand the vector, kind of. But for now, ChatGPT is the Lord and Savior. It helps so much in with productivity. Like really, it cuts hours of manual work already.
For sure. Okay, it was the last question. Thank you, Dmitro. Thank you, audience. Don't forget to say thank you to Dimitri on our VR community platform, to vote this meeting, and follow our next events about the AI, ChatGPT, and other tools. It would be really exciting and really awesome. Have a nice day. Have a nice weekend. See you guys.